Okay, welcome back to End of the Double Dragon podcast. It's your boy Shane Greenwood here from my parents' house. And with me from their own respective homes, I have Trenton Lawrence.
Hello.
And Hugh O'Donnell.
Hey.
How are you boys? Going okay?
Good.
Yeah.
Well,
I had
isolated.
cabin fever.
Oh.
Let's face it, Jiu-Jitsu sparks. It's never coming back.
it's like, you remember those days when we could actually make contact with people?
There's no pad holding in Jiu-Jitsu.
All right, cool. So this is episode 118 from Quarantine Land. The restrictions are easing soon, it seems like, but we'll see how it goes.
You can have two people over now, so I can throw a party.
Bam, bam. All right, and so we got a guest today. So from here, I'll just go from that one. So yeah, Muay Thai fighter from Rockhampton. Got a record of 15 fights for 8 wins, which includes a Commonwealth title for aggression, and he's also fought on other shows as Power Play, Destiny, Elite Fight Series, King of the Ring, and like I said before, aggression. We have Torin, the Taipan O'Brien. How are you today, sir?
Hey, awesome, man. Thanks for having me on, bro. It's pretty cool.
That's all right, bro. It's like, you know, you would have your own unique journey of like going through Muay Thai that not many other people would have done, and so like it'd be great to hear some stories from you in that. But like as we always go when we get someone new on the podcast, we want to know a little bit about your background. So like, what was your first experience going into martial arts or Muay Thai, depending? Okay.
So I started, I don't know, about a year or so of kickboxing sort of style back in New Zealand when I was about 12. You know, probably my mum probably put me in there after getting, you know, bashed too much at school or something. You know, I'll freckle-faced ginger kid, and we don't do well at school, especially in a big Maori school like I was at. So my mum took me down to Malka Kickboxing, which is a karate-based place, and I just really loved it. I always remember not wanting to go when Mum said, you know, it's time to go, and always having a fit not going. But I always remember getting there and just loving it and not wanting to leave. And I ended up having a fight or two in a little tournament. This is back in probably about 1998, 1999. It was one of those weird sort of karate-style tournaments where it's just a flat floor, you're in a gi, there's bare fist, but there's no shots to the head, and then you've got the little funny foot pad just on your foot, but not on your shin.
Yeah.
So that was my first ever taste of it, and it was the only time I did it up until I was about 27 or something like that. So I went away from it and didn't really think much about it, but I always remembered wanting to like go a bit further, all through my adulthood, just always thinking back, like wanting to do it. And really, so after a bit of an incident up here in Queensland where I lost my licence and I was riding a push bike, you know, and running 30, 50 Ks a day, I decided that when I got my licence back, this is the time to jump into it. I'm already half fit. I'm already moving. So then that was the first time I did actual Muay Thai. It's just at a local place here in Rocky, and from there it just spiraled out of control.
That's crazy. So when you did fight Muay Thai from there, like, who did you start with, and like, you know, like, and take us to about now, like, you know, with your fight career.
Yeah, so I started at a little place called Unison, which is where my stepdaughter's trained jiu-jitsu. It's a really good jiu-jitsu school. They don't fight in Muay Thai. They have Muay Thai classes. They don't really compete. They got a couple of fighters there, but it's like Taipan. And it wasn't really going to happen. So I went to another gym that was on the other side of town called Rockhampton, MMA, which is where I had, you know, I'm still to this day friends with the coach there, Nathan O'Connor, and I had my first fight there as an adult. It would have been about, I want to guess, about 2016 or so. And it really just set a fire. Like, I really wanted to do it. And from there, like, that's where things got a little bit weird, like my sort of journey, because I was in the gym, and I noticed this guy came in, just another student, or a bit older, but just another guy training there. Big fat guy, beard, about 130 kilo. And I paired up with him one day. There was just something different about him. He clearly knew what he was doing with the pads, not like where I was. And, you know, remember the gym that I was at, it wasn't a Muay Thai gym, it was an MMA gym, so everything was a bit different anyway. So I started training this guy, and after a couple of weeks, he sort of told me about his career, and he ended up being one of Joe Hilton's main old fighters that fought on Evolution and all these other massive shows, and his gear and everything. So I started hitting pads with him a little bit, and then I started fighting for him, and we had 3 fights together over the course of about 2 years, because every time I fought, I'd break like 100 bones in my foot. Or like just something ridiculous, you know. And then sort of he went his own way and moved back down south. And by then I'd been to a couple of shows like more legitimate Muay Thai shows, not like the little mixed shows, you know. Like I've been to Coast a Joe show and Sunny Coast, and I remember looking at it like I looked at work years ago in the meatworks. There was, you know, you see the fight card, and then you see I remember noticing like the 3x2 round guys modified rules, and then like the 5x2 guys modified rules, and then the 5x3, you know, the guys at the top. And I just remember thinking, yeah, fuck all this other shit, I want to go up there. But the problem was I didn't really have anywhere to train anymore, because the other gyms didn't really do Muay Thai. They never used elbows. To this day, there's nowhere else in town that actually competes like full Thai rules. So I thought, well, I'm just going to take a risk here, and I hired a little place, and we hung up a couple of bags, and I just started beating the shit out of bags, and then nominating myself for fights and showing up, and just sort of see what happens.
Round about that time, Torin, were you just looking to set yourself up somewhere to train yourself and fight, or that was supposed to be a gym you were going to produce fighters from the start?
No, I never had any intention of producing fighters. Like I was figuring out how to do it myself. You know, I just wanted somewhere where I could go hard and train, and then fight out and do my own thing, because I wanted to. I sort of had a different outlook from other places in town. That first of all, they're MMA based, so I was never really going to get deep into the Muay Thai world. But in terms of like fitness and conditioning and health, I just took it a lot more seriously, and I just felt I was better on my own. So it was just really just for myself. And then, you know, eventually one guy come that, you know, I trained with at a previous place before. He actually fought one of your boys. He came down, Rick Braddock I'm talking about. He had 2 fights before he came with me, and 2 really bad experiences. Like, you know, he got his eye socket broken, his nose broken. It was just a really bad. He had a really bad start, and then we started training together. And it was just sort of us. There was a couple other people that were there in and out, here and there. And it just sort of seemed as if I was going to make this work. I needed to pump up something and you know, do better. So I looked into just doing like a typical gym layout and actually getting a like commitment from people. So we started actually making it like we had 2 bags and 1 set of pads, and that was it. So from there, we sort of just kept going. Me and Luke were having a fight here and there, and then more people started coming. And then it was sort of accidentally happened to turn into a gym. You know, we probably had about 20 people there every day, and I thought, fuck, I better buy some mats because we're training on carpet. You know, and from there, it just sort of, I don't know, it just worked, you know. Like, I'm lucky that every single person that came through the door was, you know, had some natural ability or they were just ballsy, or however it worked, it just worked. So from there, we just started sort of trying to climb the ladder, and I just had my goal. I could see like I said before, I could see the difference between certain gyms, certain shows, and what there is between the 3 2-minute rounds and the amateurs and the pros, and the steps you need to take to get to being a real Muay Thai fight. That fight's long rounds, unprotected, you know, and eventually we just, you know, we chipped our way there. Having said that, up in Queensland, it's not lockdown there yet. There's a Wild West there now. We just do what we want.
The lawless state.
Torin, I can't help notice there's a strong correlation between gingerhead males knowing you and yourself, and having seen a lot of fight posters.
Yeah.
What's the connection there?
Well, we're just generally better people. Obvious reasons.
That's where the bullying comes from. It's just jealousy.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, definitely. So like, you know, you're based out of Rockhampton, so's your gym, Snake Pit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and like, give us a bit of bracket. What is Rockhampton like itself? How could you explain it?
I mean, if you'd asked me this 5 years ago, I would have told you it was the biggest dump on the planet. They'd never come here. Why the fuck did I move here to start with? You know, all of the above. But, you know, it was a bit of a lesson of it is what you make of it. So, you know, fast forward to now, I'm surrounded by awesome people through my gym and our bar. I mean, there's bugger all traffic. There's a tropical, you know, holiday destination half an hour's drive away. The weather's perfect all year round. To be quite honest, no one should bitch about the food. You know, we live in paradise. Having said that, it was only once I actually took the steps to make my life better instead of just being the, you know, pisshead meat worker that works in the meatworks and lives in a shitty house. You know, once we put some effort in, it's great.
And speaking of Rockhampton, like I obviously follow you guys, and like you said, you've got a really good like community at your gym, and you're telling us about how it kind of just started as somewhere you and Luke were training, and then people started showing up. Was that a word of mouth thing, or were you like, how did the kind of spread of the gym work? Were you advertising, or were people just...
no way. So I did do a little bit of coaching at the gym I was before that, and I had a number of people basically come with me. Once I sort of, you know, let the word out that we will have more people come over, I had quite a few come over from other places. So that sort of started it. And then from there, like most of our gym, it's like super family orientated on accident. You know, we've got one of our little junior fighters, Brave. You know, they've got 4 members in one house. And then there's quite a few households like that. So it grew based on word of mouth solely, because at no point was I advertising to be a fighter's coach or really anything other than just teaching like Muay Thai. Really, because, you know, I knew I had some experience with just basic fitness and conditioning and everything, but I really had no business teaching fucking Muay Thai. I'd had 3 amateur fights and never used the elbow in my life. So I just let it happen slowly but surely, and as I got better, you know, I opened up a little bit more, and as I got more confident what I was doing was like the right thing or the wrong thing, then I might open it a bit more, and it just sort of slowly happened until a few, you know, there's a few pivotal points in the gym's existence where it sort of clicked, like, okay, now we're a gym, we're fighting all these places, like now we can be a bit more, and you know, so probably after about a year of doing it, I guess we started being a bit more serious and actually getting rubber mats on the ground and memberships, more than one set of top pads.
As well, that, you know, most of the gyms close to you are a little bit more MMA centric, and that probably, I would say, what allows you to start to build there is like you become the Muay Thai gym, and people like what you're doing compared to what other people are doing. But at that time, when it was just MMA that was around, well, what is it? Did you ever think that maybe you'd just go that way? Like, why? What was it about? What was it that led you towards Muay Thai so strictly?
Well, I always remember thinking, just from what I saw on TV, that MMA people look like fuckwits and behave like idiots. And I didn't really, you know, like I've got some really good, you know, people I respect that into MMA, and so I'm not saying that they're all fuckwits, but it just seemed the general attitude between, you know, if you look up any UFC weigh-in event, you're going to see like chest bumping and all, you know, just typical bullshit. But if you look at any Muay Thai weigh-in, pretty much anyone you want, go to YouTube, have a look. You know, they're just friends and they're bowing to each other and they're shaking hands, and it was just like a very clear difference in the ego. And there's a couple other reasons, you know, like I just sort of liked the atmosphere a lot better. Especially once I fought at Coastal Warfare the first time, that was a big eye-opener for me, because the people in the crowd, they weren't just casual fight fans. They were really passionate, but they knew what they were looking at, you know. And I remember the first time hearing people yell knee every time it gets in the clinch. And I thought, well, they really know what they're looking at, you know.
Yeah.
And opposed to the shows up here, well, we've got one really good Muay Thai show here now, but before then it was all mixed shows. So like you might have some boxing, some modified Thai rules, some MMA, a bit of everything, and the crowds are just wankers, you know. Like you just got these drunk, couch potatoes telling you how you should have fought, and I've just never experienced that at a real Muay Thai show. So that the more I got into Muay Thai, the more it set me on a path to be pure Muay Thai and nothing else.
Yeah, I feel that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So with your gym, so when you first started the gym, like, you know, you actually turned into, because you own two businesses, you got a gym and a bar, the Dizzy Steed.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
You're on top of each. Were you on top of each other? Wasn't it? At one
Yeah,
point?
that's right. Yeah.
But now you recently just moved your gym, didn't you?
Well, we did, but we had to move again because we found this huge, you know, basically just after Christmas. I got a really good deal with a whole heap of new boxing stuff, and I've been promising my guys for the last year that the big upgrade's going to come. We're going to have the big competition boxing ring. We're going to have this, and it's all going to start really happening. And then it did happen. You know, in January, and I got a really good deal with SMAI on a whole heap of stuff, brand new stuff, and so I just jumped at a venue that was right in the middle of town. So, you know, there's a small main street in Rocky. My gym and my bar was at one, and then the new venue was going to be just the other end of the main street. So we moved in, and it was just like so cool. You know, it was on the main street. It was quite a nice area. It was huge. We had two boxing rings. We had all this extra space. It was just we were not used to it. It felt like we'd walked into a already well-established gym, you know, but it was just us in a new building and a new ring.
Yeah.
But about, you know, a couple of weeks in, we got a complaint from the business downstairs that said there was too much noise, which is sort of not really true. There's a dance studio up there before us, we were cleared by the council. We'd sent people into the shop while we were training to see from their ears if actually they actually telling the truth, and they weren't. It wasn't that much noise at all. The other thing was the guy that was complaining was a sex shop, so you know, it's a fuckwit that sells rubber dicks all day. You know, so we had this there was a big double-story block on the main street. We've got Subway here. We've got a child psychologist above them, and they're weird next to the child psychologist. So not only, you know, we all fed each other, you know, like my guys would eat at Subway, the child psychologist, people started putting their kids into my gym, and it was like a good little mini economy. But the guy that sells the rubber dicks, he didn't like it, so I made a bit of a quick decision deal with the real estate to exit my 3-year lease, which turned out to be bloody great because of all this stuff going on now. That's just saved me an ungodly amount of money. But the thing is, I couldn't just go back to my old building because we had all this new stuff and we had about 20 new members and we just wouldn't be able to fit it in.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'm going to do something crazy here and see if it works. And so I shut down the beer garden in my pub permanently.
Right.
And we set up a competition boxing ring out there. We put up big fencing, waterproof shade sails. So you've got basically like about 100 square metres of the boxing ring and everything, and then you walk past the mats, you go upstairs, and there's still the upstairs gym as well as the downstairs gym. So we've got, you know, probably about 200 square metres all up between the downstairs and the upstairs area. And I thought, you know, we're going to feel like a more authentic feeling with this Thai gym because it's all outside. And I sort of had to be really like careful about the decision because it might not have looked good. You know, we've moved into this place and now we're moving out again. So we had to market it right, we had to look at it right, and we got it all set up, and we trained in there for 1 week. 1 week when these laws come in, and we got shut down. and I'll tell you what, I've never been to Thailand or anything, but just holding pads for the fighters and a ring outside, like it just felt so cool, and I just
that's it.
I can't wait to like get back in there with this like new, you know, it's gonna be a new atmosphere. It's just going to be great. I can't wait, yeah.
That's like the theme of 2020 is you just get a taste of everything going well. Like, it's not like this didn't just happen. Like, they just let you feel like everything's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Pull it away.
Yeah. So hopefully it gets back that direction when they release these fuels because we've done a fair bit of work over there to get things happening and make it. So, you know, I put a lot of thought into how's everyone going to be after all this isolation? Are they just going to, if they say on Friday we can open, and when they show up on Monday, are they going to all rock up as usual and be happy, or are they going to be weird? Are they going to be like the boys and girls at a school dance where they just stand at opposite ends and just look at each other? I didn't really know. So, we've done a lot of work there and made everything new and fresh and fun, and I can't wait for everyone to come back. Hope you're all fucking happy and work real hard.
That's exactly right. Yeah, same thing at our gym. Where like basically this is like a time where we wouldn't have this opportunity to do it. So we're doing like basically making a new gym within the gym itself.
Yeah.
Tear everything down, paint the walls, new mats, everything, and whole new structures and stuff. So, like I guess not everyone will have the opportunity to make a blessing out of like this, but yeah, some people making it work. But like for yourself that owns, like you own two like businesses, how's it affecting you at the moment with all this shit?
So, so the first thing they got shut down were gyms and pubs, and that's both of my incomes. So that was fucking pretty shit. Yes. So what we did, going back to that day, I think it was like 9 o'clock at night. They said from midday tomorrow, gyms are shut. Whatever it was seemed crazy. But so we straight away announced not to worry, we're going to go fully online and interactive online and all that stuff. And to be real honest, I had no idea how we're going to do that.
Yeah.
We'll just announce it, and then and there's a good old Richard Branson saying that says, if you get an opportunity, you don't know how to do it, take it and learn how to do it later.
Yeah.
So it's sort of one of those situations. I also have like a good friend now that I met when I won my title, Benji Wright and Nakia Wright from Double Dose, the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
They're just like, they're so on the ball for stuff.
They're awesome.
In terms of online stuff, they're just, or just business in general, they've been a lot of inspiration for me business-wise. So I chatted with him a fair bit, and we bounced ideas off the centre first. They're doing everything like super high level. Like, this is rocky, so I'm doing it the no frills version of everything. But within a couple of days, we had it worked out. Okay, we do Zoom, we do this. We need to give everyone pads and bags and mats, and then sort of go from there. And in terms of the pub, I wasn't really worried. We just shut it because we've got two businesses, but they're in the same building. So as long as we keep one with some revenue, we can try and make it cover everything. And the next part was there's been a few gyms that have made some decisions. No one really knew what was happening, so some gyms just shut down and stopped income, and they're just fucked. And then there's some that have done things like reduced membership to half price and done online things, and there's all types of different directions people are going. But I didn't really want to go down that direction because I always thought for sure that this is going to get worse. People are going to lose their jobs, and if we cut everything to half, what happens when 25% drops? We're already at half. Like we're going to really starve. So I made this decision to create something, an extra service to give to maintain. So long story short, there's different levels of memberships. Whether it's like kids or women's only or full access or fighter. They're all different prices. So based on your membership, we offered X amount of free outdoor PTs per fortnight, as well as the online classes, and that way we were able to maintain our regular revenue. We obviously did lose a chunk, like we took a hit, don't get me wrong, but for the most part we've made it through pretty good. And that's really just how we did it. And from there, it's gone really well. Like more and more people showing up to online classes twice a day, every day, morning and night. And we've just sort of, it was a bit of quick thinking and a bit of inspiration from others, but it was also just the members. None of them signed up for this, and every single one of them was like, yep, I made the offer to cancel if they needed to, and no one wanted to. I made the offer to downgrade payments a little bit in the beginning, but no one wanted to. So it's really all come down to the members, the fighters, and everyone else. Like they want it there when they come back. So a little bit of both, cool online stuff as well as just fucking cool members, man.
Yeah. How have you found as a trainer, because I've been doing it, I didn't have to start doing it until a bit later than everyone else, but running Zoom classes and stuff. I'm interested to hear other people, how did it feel for you trying to put together classes and stuff to run over Zoom in the early going there?
Yeah, the early going bit was pretty tough, and so now what I do, you can consider the first 2 weeks just awkward weird bullshit, you know. I didn't try to sugarcoat that. I said to everyone, look, this is going to be weird. We're going to have to learn to figure this out. Please just bear with me, and I'll work really hard to get it going. So the first bit was like sorting out everyone's lighting, like making, your lighting, your camera position, because there was some classes where people would just look at their phone and go back and do what we're doing, and I can't even see them. I'm looking at the stars, you can't see it, and then there was lag and audio problems. So once we got through all that normal shit, now that we've all sorted, I write what we're going to do in the class based on the situation we have. So by that I mean we've got some households that have, people in the same house where they can hold pads for each other. We've got some households that just hit the bag on their own. With people that have the same household, they don't have to social distance their family. So they can do partner drills. But the other thing is, like, some people can't, might be someone doing it in a park or someone on the bag going solo. So I'm writing like a class now that sort of tries to accommodate all of that. Like, these combos here, instead of doing 5 3-minute rounds or something and then swapping over, we might do, like the other night, 7 2-minute rounds. So it's a little bit faster and there's more combos and it's a bit more exciting and fun. And then I added some conditioning drills that you can do either with a partner or in a bag. It doesn't like so basically, no matter what situation you're in, you can get it done.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where we're at now. And I think everyone's pretty comfortable. Now that I'm used to it, we're now adding in a couple of bit more technical things like catchy, sweepy type things. And because at the beginning we just kept it super simple because it's obviously like it's a weird thing, But we're going pretty well now, man. Now that it all happened,
yeah, it's good because like I did a lot of teaching this week actually over Zoom, but getting into it at first because like I know in a lot of cases people are tuning in almost like it's from their side like a support thing, like they're trying to stay involved, but like when I'm there in front of them, like they've tuned in to do a class, like I want to come, like everyone's just shadow boxing, like that's kind of all we've got, like it's an equipment-free class, but like I want to put something on where you're coming out of that feeling like, yes, I'm improving on a certain area. Yeah. So usually like if there's been like a positive to teaching in that way, it's like I have to think of what can you really actually work on, like really work on, like not work on to do in a proper training later on, but what can we actually make better? And it's like, I think a lot of the time when I'm training a class, it's like, I'm training people who want to do the same thing as me, they're just a bit less experienced. So you just draw on things you did in the past. But at the moment, like, I've got to figure out, because I've been doing the same thing, like trying to stay sharp with no equipment and no real training. And I have to like immediately pass that on. So it's been a lot like, like I don't want to just like show up and just do aerobics in the Zoom like real training, but like it's been like a really kind of interesting challenge, I think, because you don't want to finish a class like I hate like in person. You never want to finish a class and go, that was a bitch here. And it's so much more likely that it goes like that on Zoom. Like like, and it's also you just stare down the cameras. Like I'm looking at the computer during this week and going, what a fucking strange time. We're all doing fucking Muay Thai on Zoom.
Yeah. One of the weird parts I've found about with the kids class. So the adults doesn't even matter because they're all partnering up with people that they live with that already do it. They can just hold pads for each other. It's all good. But with the kids classes, so we do some mini Muay Thai. These kids are 5 to 12 years old. And now all of a sudden, the parents that usually just sit in the corner of the gym and have a bit of a chin wag, now they're forced to be pad holders.
Yeah.
So the first couple of weeks was really just keeping it ultra basic, teaching parents how to hold pads. And even to this day now, I've sort of figured out how we can add in some more fun, not technical, but a little bit more advanced things without freaking the parents out. So we go through the combo with the kids, they know what I'm talking about, and then I go through with the parents with the combo, but I'm going through it from a pad holder's point of view. So I'm pretty much saying, you're going to go here, and then down to your leg, and then ready to the knee here. So we're sort of going through with the parents at the same time what they've got to do. In the first couple of weeks, I'm telling you now, it was fucking weird.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And, the little things like, instead of the kids, crossing over, jab, cross here, they're like going straight ahead to the opposite page, So you've got to fix up all these things and try and do it enough so they're not doing silly things, but not too much where we spend the whole class just like telling parents where to put pads. You know, it was like a weird slow progression. It's so weird, man.
It is just like fucking weird. That's just like, but the weirdest part is just the way it's kind of like, with how long we've been in this situation now, it's sort of become normal, if you know what I mean. Like it's become routine to just get it. But like, if 2 months ago I said I've had this wicked idea, I'm going to teach Zoom classes, so no one has to show up to the gym and you can just train at home, everyone would have called me a dickhead, and I would have deserved it. And I would have deserved it because like, no one would think that's a good idea. But now, like, obviously we're just doing what we can, but like we're coming up with ways to like really make an actual Muay Thai class on Zoom.
I'm actually a lot more creative now. So, you know, before this lockdown come, I mean, we had an okay system, you know, like I was happy with it. You know, we you know, whatever clinching we did these pads and we do this. And you know, we had a really fun system. But now that I've been forced to do all these crazy bodyweight classes and everything and explore like different bodyweight exercises, different total conditioning things you can do with nothing or no partner, you know, when the gym reopens, it's going to be a lot more creative. If we do circuit training or with our strength conditioning before we spar or whatever it is, there's going to be a lot more variety in what we do. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's definitely a lot of silver linings out of this. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm fucking spewing that it happened, but if you really look at the positives, there's plenty there. You know, we're all going to learn things that we would not have otherwise.
Yeah, and I think as well, as much as anything, like, for me, like, I went through a period, like, I've been in the gym, like, really routinely a couple of times a day for a long time. And across, like, since I was a kid as well, so this is, like, the first time I've ever not been in that routine. But I think, like, if you look for, like, the silver linings, like you said, you put it well. Nothing's going to make me say it was a good thing that happened. I'm glad.
Yeah.
But, like, it's been a good discipline check, I think, because when you don't have the environment, like, it's a good incentive to train when everyone's going to know if you weren't there. Like, you had to show up. When it's just getting in the garage and fucking doing push-ups and stuff, nothing happens if I just go to bed.
Yeah, that's right.
Nothing happens if I just sit on the couch. But you've got to get back in line with that intrinsic kind of discipline and actually get yourself out there. And like, it's the same with like running classes on Zoom. I've got to do this workout with the people. Yeah, like it keeps myself in check.
Oh man, I've actually gotten a lot fitter because of it. Because like since October, since my last fight when I re-fucked my arm and then I had surgery on my arm, I've done nothing for a couple of months. I've just, you know, I've been having some beers and having a few parties and eating whatever I want. I decided to like intentionally put on weight, lift weights again for a little while. And so now that all of a sudden I had to do this, I'm struggling, man. Like for the first couple of weeks, I'm like, well, I'm doing the bodyweight class with them as if it's some ridiculous old aerobics thing. Yeah. And I'm trying not to show on camera how much I'm suffering. I'm like, okay, now we're going to go into this. But a couple weeks later, oh man, I'm in good shape again, you know?
Yeah. That was like I did like a body weight. I've been using that as a way to keep myself in check as well, like you said, because I took the guys through a pretty hard one yesterday. Yeah. And like I feel like I have to be looking okay through that. Like it's not a very good class if like I'm absolutely battling through.
Yeah.
It like keeps that little bit of push just like when you're in the gym you have that sort of little bit of competitiveness or just making sure you're trying to stay up with everyone else. The Zoom class provides that a little bit. Especially when you sort of have to be looking pretty strong.
You really do, and I find it's really motivating for others because there's a weird thing that no one really talks about in gyms. And so if you're the coach, the trainer, or like one of the pro fighters, all the other students look at you like you're just this internally ultra conditioned beast all year round. You'll never ever get tired. You know what I mean? And so because they think all of that stuff, you've got to be that pretty much. If they see you huffing and puffing or not showing up to a class or like considered, you know, for an extended period of time, whatever. Like I've seen it. The more the fighters do, the more the other people do. When the fighters start backing off, it sort of deflates all the regular students a little bit, you know, big time. So I've sort of put a bomb up the fighters' asses last week. Like, where are you? Like, you know, like get on the Zoom classes, let us do it. You know, and more people come, and it's again, it's just a fucking weird thing, man. What a massive learning curve.
Yeah, because it's like, in a time like this as well, if your fighters don't train, then someone who is not a fighter, just a casual gym member, was kind of worried about losing their fitness in this time, they'll rationalise that as like, well, if even the fighters are getting unfit, how could I be expected to get fit? Whereas if the fighters keep training, they look to that and they say like, well, this is how a fighter would behave in this. Like, I think, and as a fighter, like one of the experienced fighters in the gym, you owe it to people a bit. I guess you don't owe it to them, but like you can do a good thing by serving as that example for someone who wants to get into it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think. Well, I like my gym to and myself and other main fighters to lead by example.
Yeah,
100%. And I think those gyms that are really serious about that, they set themselves apart from the rest. I think it's pretty obvious, why should I be some fat useless shit in the gym telling everyone work hard?
Hey, take it easy. Hey, you can't all hold pads. Jeez.
That's all right if you're in jiu-jitsu. Like, you can probably be fat shit if you want. You're just going to sniff guys' assholes all night.
Expectation.
Yeah. But I guess, it is just weird times at the moment that we're just living in. But it's like you just adapt and make it work. Fuck, And it's like, for us, like, Jesus, I think like 95% of our classes are the girls. They're just doing it. And
the boys have left a lot to be desired in their participation in the Zoom stuff.
Yeah.
It's probably because I've been teaching the classes. I would imagine that's why it's been such a strong female presence. But
for obvious reasons.
Of course.
But Torin, we've talked a lot about the COVID stuff, but that's getting boring. Of course.
Yeah, that's like you gotta. That's what we've been talking about from that one lately.
You're a man with stories to tell, and you just mentioned your repeat arm injury. So walk us through some of what's been going on.
Oh man, so I've had a shit fucking start out. I'm just always fucking serious shit, and I must have something wrong with me with my pain threshold because I never know until weeks afterwards, And so I broke my arm pretty badly when I fought Jaden Nunez, who's a real motherfucker to fight, by the way.
Yeah, he's a savage.
He is, yeah. So I broke my arm when I fought him, and it was in like the first round, and we fought another 3 or 4, and I just got kicked a gazillion times, just smashed into a million pieces. And so I had to have, a little bit of time off of that, but I didn't look after it. I was at Downloads Cecil and Sydney the week after, and the mosh pit passed on, and then I kept running every day, and it hurt a little bit, which is weird. But a couple months after that, they sort of said, "Oh, we should have operated. There's a massive calcification on your arm now." I had this lump on my arm; it's like a golf ball, ridiculous. They said it's healed, but there's some non-union there, and you're going to have trouble for a long time, so you've got to get it operated on. So once they said I've got to get it operated on, the waiting list is going to be however many months. I just chose to try and turn off the pain and carry on with life. And then I knew I had a problem with my arm. I've got a problem with my hands when I fight. It's no secret, so I wanted to work on my boxing. So I showed up at this, it was probably mid-year last year, a couple of months after the original break. And I showed up at a PCYC place to have a look at the boxing, and they asked me to weigh in, so I thought, sure, I'll weigh in. I've been up drinking whiskey with one of our gym boys until 3 a.m, but I thought I'll have a go anyway. And ended up fighting that night in a terrible condition. I was burping up Dublin and whiskey on the way to the ring. And it was his second boxing fight, and the guy I fought was the current Australian champion. It was a 111 fight. And so we had that fight, and it actually went fine. Like, I expected him to smash my face, and I just wanted to work on a couple of things that I failed in my last fight. I wanted to work on some angles, and I don't really take boxing too seriously, to be honest. Ignorance, whatever, but, so I did that, and it was fine, but I definitely hurt my arm a lot more. And so I had a little bit more time up after that, and it must have been creeping up to October, and I saw that Aggression Muay Thai had the English champion from Legions. He was meant to fight Billy Aitken, the WBC, former WBC champion. Billy hurt his back and pretty badly, and so they're looking for a replacement. So it was about 3 weeks out. So I put my little hand up emoji on the poster, like, I'll do it. And they messaged me, and about a week after I locked in the fight, I'm going to do it. I really hurt my arm again at the gym, and I went in and got an X-ray, and yeah, it was fucking fractured again. It was pretty bad. But by that point, like, it was 2 weeks out from the fight, I just agreed to it. So we'd done this a million times before, just lock it out, carry on. And I get down there. I flew down there by myself, and Benji Ryan looked after me down there. And so he strapped my arm up extra. I didn't actually tell him until he was wrapping my hands, because I didn't want them to take the fight away from me. So once they started wrapping my hands, I said, "Can you just cover that massive lump there, like, extra?" Because it was so bad, man, like a lump, you know. And so he wrapped it up, and then they told me that the guy that I was fighting was, like, knocked everyone out boxing. I was like, "Oh, this is fucking shit." So I went in there, and we had this fight, and it was probably one of my best fights. Like, I just southpaw left kicked him to pieces and took his hands away and won the title. It was a pretty good night. And then I'd already agreed to fight another guy in Destiny 3 weeks after, and I've been wanting to get on Destiny for a while, so I thought we can't pull out of that one either. Luke and Jake were both matched on Destiny. It was going to be a wicked boys trip. So we thought, nah, I'll just do nothing for a couple of weeks, and then, you know, we'll all get to go to Destiny. And Destiny turned into a bit of a shit show because everyone pulled out on us, except for me. So Luke stepped up to fight Corey Crittenden for his first pro fight, like a week's notice, way up in weight against, you know, he's a beast, he's had 30-odd fights. And then Jake stepped up as well. And so we all went down there, we all had our fights, it was all good, and I smashed my arm to pieces even worse. The guy that I fought was a big, like a really tall southpaw, so it was like left kick. Guy Coleman, yeah.
Coleman, yeah. He's good. He's on a good run.
He's terribly tall. It's
unnecessary. He's very, very tall.
It's no one needs to be that tall. So
he's offensively tall.
It's offensive. Yeah, I was personally offended. So, you know, he's a southpaw, I'm a southpaw, so that first left kick that came along, of course it just went straight to my sore arm there, so it ended up being a good fight. I lost on points, but it was a pretty pleasing fight to watch, I think. There's a bit of a bloodbath. We both got cuts and blood everywhere, and it was good fun. But I was really having trouble in that fight. I was just surviving the whole time because that arm was just flopping around, and Benji's telling me what to do, and I'd act on it immediately in the next round, but then that's it. You're hanging up, stop, and come back once it's actually fixed and actually be able to start properly, and actually be able to train properly. And I'm going to get ready now and fight again next year.
Because I remember I saw you post that you'd kind of put the fight career on ice because of the arm injury and you'd be back. So, or did you say you'd be back, or you might be back down the line?
Yeah, I said that what I was doing there was pretty much making like a public, like making it a big deal for myself, because I'm such a fucking retard, and so like fighting like a drug to me. So like I've never said no to a fight, and I've always taken these week, like 5-day notice fights, and I knew that if I didn't make it like a big deal that I'm not going to fight at all for the whole year, I'm probably still going to do something dumb. I'm still going to take that, you know, that late notice fight in whatever city and just keep smashing myself to pieces and never actually get to where I want to go. So that's why I sort of did that. It was like, yes, I'm not fighting, and like the message there was, can you promoters stop fucking asking me to? Because like even, you know, and I still got one, man. I not a promoter, but it was actually one of your guys' mates, Matt Staple. Yeah, he messaged me. He's like, hey man, are you fighting at the moment? My opponent pulled out. I need someone to fight next week. I'm like, cunt, I just had surgery like 3 days ago. Yeah, so I think that was that fight show that ended up getting totally scrapped all together last minute.
So it goes. Probably for the best.
Yeah. Well, I didn't agree to it. Obviously, I was literally a couple of days out of surgery. But the whole point behind that post was like to give myself an actual year off to actually focus on not just healing myself, but focus on getting better at Muay Thai and better at coaching. Because my guys were starting to climb ladders, you know, and I owe it to them to don't worry about myself at all, and put everything into getting better at training others and to them, and it paid off pretty quickly. I became a better trainer almost overnight from making a decision and not thinking about myself.
Yeah.
And as a trainer because it's like we did that podcast last week about less experienced people and how starting to train people. So, like you said, and I heard you say, I've heard you say a few times, it's like it's not like you had spent years and years and years at some top end gym, or you were back from a lengthy stint in Thailand or something. Like you were kind of learning on the fly and training people. So, like, where were you kind of sourcing what would you say your influences on how you learned to teach?
So my first influence was Ben Sorensen, and he was an amazing fighter. Like, you watch his fights on Evolution, and they were just terrifying. Like, they're fighting the older NTG guys and that, like his skill and, everything was undeniable. But as a trainer, he was fucking terrible. Like, he's a fucking, just coaching in general was a rough situation with him, and I don't say this secretly. I've told him a million times, and I'm still friends with him. Like, fuck, that was the worst 2 years of my life. You're a great fighter, but you're just shit at life. So from there, that's where I learned the very basics of, okay, if you're going to fight, you need to be able to do like 7 3-minute rounds with 30-second breaks, and you need to be able to clinch. You need to be able to do, like just the raw basics, and the pad holding style was a lot different because he fought so many years ago. It was more like high intense, like more Dutch style, like big combos, and everything was just go. There wasn't much slower technique stuff. It was just like, you've just got to bulldog everything. And the only thing he ever said to me in the corner of my first couple of fights was like, just assert your dominance. You have to assert your dominance more. There was never really any technical advice. It was just like, you're not doing enough, like it was just like angry. And, I won my first few fights by stoppage most of the time. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. And so after he left, it was actually my 6th fight. I fought on Coastal Warfare. It was my first fight with the elbows. And I fought a guy from South Australia. He was one of Pinky's fighters. And it was a proper elbow fight, and I was just so excited, I'm like, okay, so now we're the 3x2 with elbows, no pads. Like, that's the next step up, of climbing the ladder. The fight went really well, got a second round, elbow stoppage, and then that's how I met Pinky.
Was that Ryan that you fought?
Yes, yeah. So that's how I met Pinky, and from there, the difference in my training and skill stuff that I do and the intensity and just the whole lot really is mainly inspired from Pinky. I spoke to him a lot. We talked a lot. I watched a lot of what he did. I then spent a bit of time with him down in Adelaide. Me and my wife went down there and trained at a gym. And that just took me from ridiculous old Queensland Bulldog style to actually Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So it was that, like, it was a huge jump, and a couple of fights in between, there was definitely like a big adjustment period. I was always worried, like, oh no, I haven't done all the stupid high intensity shit all day every day. I'm going to get my ass kicked. But after a couple of fights and a little while, it was very clear that style of training is just so much better. Not just the fight, but it's more enjoyable. It's less injury. There's better recovery. It's just a better life in general. So that just changed everything for me. So I still speak to Pinky a lot on the phone. He's taught me most of what I know about actual Muay Thai now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've actually only really briefly met Pinky in person, but I met him the same way you did. He was in the corner against me. Yeah. But I think Pinky's like, because how many people has Pinky cornered for in his life, do you reckon?
Everyone that's ever lived.
Everyone, yeah. But yeah, so I met him just briefly down in Roots off of that. But like, it's kind of the same. I think Pinky is such a good ambassador for Muay Thai. Like, he's someone who really like cares about, like, someone, not that many people in Australia have as much really first-hand, like, raw Thailand experience. Like, I've got, like, his experience in Thailand is so far beyond the training holiday. Like, he's really lived it there. Yeah. And, like, he's not one of these guys that has that mentality of, like, this information is for my gym. Like, because we would get in touch online and stuff like that after I met him. And like, if I ask Pinky a question, barely even knows me, and he'll send me back everything you could possibly need to know. Like, he really wants to share what he knows with the whole Australian Muay Thai community. Like,
he's just got a deep love for Muay Thai.
Yeah, and enough of a love for Muay Thai where he wants the whole scene to level up. Like, he doesn't want to be like, yes, I know all this. Now my gym will be really good off of that, and we'll use it to our advantage. Like, he'll give advice to everyone, like everyone who wants to know something, and he really like cares enough about it to give like he gives everyone the time of day. I think he's really like important for Australian Muay Thai. Like, he's got a lot of really good info.
Yeah. I told him that not long ago too. Like, when all this stuff happens with the gyms, you know, we spoke on the phone, and that was one of the things. I'm like, I just it needs to all work out because he's such an important person in Muay Thai today. When you look at, you know, that's probably the big difference between like my old style. Like, everyone Queensland used to be like the best state in Muay Thai because they were always winning everything, and the difference between that and now is like the influence from Thais and people like him that actually know what they're doing. Because Queensland's not the best anymore, you know. Might be tough or whatever, but when you look at like the Thai stylist people that are coming out of like WA and all that, like it clearly there's a better way. Obviously, the Thais have been doing it for longer than anyone else have, and people like him have made this influence. That's what's made the change from what I can see looking back from the 90s to now. It's influencing people that have actually lived there, actually fought those real Thai stadiums, and it's just great.
Yeah, and this is kind of how we level up as well, because you can sort of have that take. Like, some people still have that old-fashioned take, like, if you really want to do this, you've got to go over and do this stint in Thailand. When really, I think, like, it's definitely a good thing to do. But now that we have the information here, as long as the people that have lived that life are bringing it back, and I think we have that understanding that we can grow from what they've learned, like, we're getting better at just producing fighters domestically. But that's where the information's come from. I think more and more people are actually able to succeed being here and training here.
Fucking oath.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, you know, we can the only way to get us better is like, you know, sharing the information and just like, you know, and just like not afraid like just to compete each other. Like, I know like back in the day, like with some art gyms, like, yeah, I want to compete against extras, like some of that, like that, or like nowadays, like I don't care. Like, it's like, you know, I'm friends with basically all the trainers that I compete against my times, and it's like go cool, let's see how this goes down, and then at the end of the day, and win, lose, draws, just go, that was a good one, fellas. Hopefully we can do it again, you know. And that's what I like about best of this thing. There's no bullshit, there's no egos. Everyone's just trying to get better, and everyone's just trying to, like, you know, put Australia right on the map for Muay Thai. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and that's one of the big things. Like, going back to what earlier, the big difference between like an MMA place and a Muay Thai place. Like, I've had fights against some really good friends, and it's never been an issue. Like, it's just been super friendly. Like, you know, it's just great. Like, the whole community it's so much different than anything else. I've never felt like this before. It's just a good community part of it. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So let's just go into now, like, you know, there was like another story that you wanted to share that you haven't really shared before publicly that you told about me. So like
I did, and it's actually about the broken arm weekend. So it was look, I put a post up. You know, might have been about a week after that weekend, or 2 weeks, or close to the time that happened. And a friend of mine, you guys would know, probably Prickles, I don't think he's friend from Intense Muay Thai, where Kerry Bradley fights out of.
Yep.
He messaged me one day and he just said, like, when his guys are having trouble, like, we might have been talking about pulling out of fights or fighting motivation or whatever it was. He said that he actually tells that story of what happened to me that weekend to get his guys, like, snap them out of it. Like, look what this happened here. I'm sure you can sort of get through what you've got going on there. And so what happened that weekend, sort of behind the scenes, was I was coming down. So me and my wife were both fighting on that show. It was my wife's first fight. And she done what the rest of us did and fought, like, way up in experience and weight and everything. And but it was just me and her going down. It was the biggest fight for me that I'd had against Jane Benyard, for sure. It was finally that big step up from the bottom undercard 3x2 modified to the Sydney main pro. You know, I was really happy for it. My wife's first fight, so cornered. We get down there, we make way. Everything's all good. We have a great night's sleep, beautiful hotel, sunny coast. Life is fucking great. And then all of a sudden, it was like midday fight day. I was having a sleep, as I do on fight day. And my wife wakes me up and says, like, the Yeppoon, which is a town close to here, Yeppoon CIB are calling and trying to get a hold of you, which is pretty confusing for me. Like, the big cops are looking for me, and I thought, it's probably something to do with my dad because he's just a lifelong criminal, and that's where he lives is Yeppoon, and I'm a legal part of his paperwork stuff. So I thought, my dad's fucked up. He's gone and bashed someone or killed someone or something like that. So I sort of just ignored it because it's fucking fight day, and I don't need any of his bullshit on fight day, you know. He'll be here soon anyway because he was going to come and watch my fight. It's going to be the first time he's seen the fight. And so we carried on with our day. We're just packing up our bag, like packing up our fight bag, like just a couple hours before the show. And the local cops actually found us at our hotel room. I don't know how. Mate, privacy, I'm telling you, they know everything. So the cops show up at my hotel, just the local coppers, and they come in and they say, look, we've got some bad news. Your father's been murdered, and we have the guy in custody. I just need you to sign. He was actually a bit fucking rough about it. He's like, I just need you to sign this bit of paper to say that I've told you, and then he left. So it was just like a normal uniform copper, but he'd been instructed by the CIB to come down and like tell the story. So I was like, oh, that was weird, because in my mind I thought, he's killed someone because he's done all this plenty of time and plenty of bad shit before, and it's usually him that's the one fucking hurting people. So with me and wife just sort of sat there like, this is a weird feeling, like, I'm like, fuck, what do we do now? So I called my mum in New Zealand, they've been separated for many years, since I was about 2. And I said, look, I've got some bad news. I'm like, Dad's been killed. And she's like, what? And I told her how it was happening. It was basically, stabbed to death in this kitchen. And her first response was pretty weird. She sort of said, that can't be right. Surely he was the one that killed people. Then he was shot by the police, Like, cause we always expected him to go out this big fucking blaze of glory type thing. But no, it was pretty simple. So I just sort of said to the wife, like, look, we just got to block it out now. We've got to go to the fight. So we're in the Sunshine Coast. We've driven our 6 hours. We've made weight. It's 3 hours before the show. Let's just go and get it done. And I remember sort of saying to her, or maybe I didn't say it to her, maybe I just thought it. We can't go in there and tell anyone what's happened. They all either fighters or they're trainers with fighters, or no one wants to hear this shit. You know what I mean? So we should go in there, suck it up, get on with it. So I wrapped my wife's hands, then I wrapped my hands, and we're sort of trying to get by. My wife's was the first fight. She's really blind too. She's got contacts, and her fight, she got her fucking nose just about broken, her contacts punched out. She was basically blind. Fighting, almost most of the fight blind, smashed nose. The fight was actually really fucking exciting. It was a really good first fight. And so after the fight, so she's the first fight on the pro setting name. So we've got all this time out the back, and luckily I bumped into a couple of mates, like good mates, like Wayne Bowman, Billy Murphy. So they jumped in my corner and helped out because the missus didn't have spare contacts, so she couldn't even fucking see. She would have been pumping full of adrenaline because it was her first fight ever, So we go out there to fight, and so the fight happens, and I've just never felt like that before. Like the whole time the fight was happening, I just felt like I wasn't going to fucking be there, It was meant to be the first time my dad watched me fight. I think it might have been the 3rd round. Jaden got me with a huge knee right in this fucking rib injury I had. It just dropped me like a stack of shit. By then, my arm was already broken because he broke my arm like immediately. So I've dropped to the ground, and I remember thinking because it was one of those bad body shots where you can't recover, like oh, no, done. Those ones that are delayed.
Just hits the off switch,
and they kick in like a few seconds later, like, oh no, I'm okay. No, I'm not. And so I'm sitting there, and I remember thinking like get up, like you've not been stabbed in the back of the head. There's nothing wrong with you. You've been hit with a knee in your rib. Like, get up, you fucking pussy. So I get up, and it hurts my arm real bad because I sort of put my arms on the ground to push myself up. And then it was the end of the round. Thank fuck for that. And next round, it might have been round 4. He just smashed. Like by then, I'd not given up. The fight was okay, but the second time he got me with those knees, like that was it. I was fucking done. And we get out the back, and there's Wayne Bowman. He's trying to get my fucking gloves and everything off. He takes my Bonds blue hoodie, turns it into a sling because he's a fireman, and it was just this whole experience. So the next day, my wife has to drive back with one fucking contact lens, 6 hours on her own because I'm laying there with a broken arm and a, what do they call it? It's not a cast, it's like a half cast because you got swelling. Backslab, that's it. And we finally get back to Rockhampton, 12 hours later, like late night the next day, and it was just the most ridiculous fight situation ever. Like it was hard enough, like having my wife fight. Really, like emotionally, it was hard to know whether do you want her not to do this because it's your wife, or do you want her to do something different because it's a fighter, or like how you separate the two?
Yeah.
That obviously went bad, and then the whole time in the back of my mind, we're still wondering if this fucking murder thing's real. Like, is it real?
Yeah.
Like, it can't be fucking real. You know what I mean? Like, and then no, the police did come to the room. It did happen. Like, okay, and then we sort of got on with it, and I ended up telling afterwards because I was like, man, I'm really sorry about that. I never been stopped really. I said, look, I had some shit happen. I ended up telling him after the show, and he's like, he sort of got up there and his wife. He's like, you fucking idiot, what are you doing fighting here? I'm like, oh, you already booked the hotel, man. We're already here, like. You might as well just do it, and but it turned into this big thing, and it was a big defining moment because after that weekend, like, there's no hard weekends anymore. There's no hard fight shows. There's nothing to be worried about, and I think, looking back, I think people could probably try and draw some inspiration because there's a lot of shitty pullouts for no reasons, and I understand that situation is absolutely ridiculous, and most people should absolutely not fight that night. Yeah. Like, but if you look at the pullout situation, but in Queensland, I'm like, fuck, I wish we had a state register. Like happened to me. What happened to you? Oh, you had to argue with your girlfriend. You couldn't find a babysitter. Whatever fucking stupid reason it is, but. Yeah, man, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, that's such a fucking crazy story. Like, what's it like? Like, is it's in a situation like that? Like, that's a hard thing to process. Like the the cops have knocked on your door and given you that kind of news, but you kind of don't process it because you just go, well, we'll just go and do what we were gonna do, and then like. Fighting someone like Jaden is enough of a task on its own. Like, legitimate, one of the best in the country. Like, one of the very, very best.
Yeah.
In top going Queensland that way at the minute, right up there in the whole country. So then, like, that's enough to deal with on its own. And then in the aftermath of that now, to have a fight like that one where you got the injury of it and stuff like that. Now, like, what's it feel like in kind of those days following that to try to just unpack all of that? It's like arms broken.
Yeah, well, that was the original break. That was the first time I broke it, and so by that point it wasn't like the third or fourth fight. It was fucking horrible. Don't get me wrong, it drained, man. I couldn't clinch it. It was a rough night, but it was the first time that happened. But like it did take a little while to settle in. The other thing about this story particularly, most people would be a lot more affected than I would, simply because like the lifestyle my dad lived. Like, he was a fucking gangster. He spent years at max security as a gun runner. This was his lifestyle, and I've known for many, many years that some shit's going to happen one day, right? Like, all of his friends are dead, already. Like, he's like one of the last of that sort of East Coast Queensland sort of era of those types of people. And so it wasn't sort of as emotionally drenching as it would be for most people that have a normal dad and a normal relationship. Like it was like, oh, half of it was like, wow, that's really fucked up, and the other half was like, wow, he made it to 55. So it's definitely different for me than it would be for most people. But the processing thing, I don't know. Your brain does a weird thing where it's like it just doesn't accept it for a while.
Yeah.
And it was actually the week later that it started fucking with me because I was at Download Festival and Ozzy Osbourne was meant to play that night. Ozzy Osbourne is who we used to listen to because I didn't meet him until I was about 13 and we used to listen to Black Sabbath and smoke cones. That's how we got to know each other. And so when I get there to see Ozzy Osbourne wasn't there. He pulled out. He wasn't at the gig, but there was all these bats circling the stage he was meant to fucking play on. And I was like, and then I started thinking of like the dad thing, and I was like, oh, this is fucking getting real weird, you know. But yeah, like in terms of processing it, fuck man, I don't know. It's too strange to predict. You can't prepare yourself for a situation like that. Like it's absurd.
How did knowing your dad was like that and your relationship, how did it I don't know, shape your life, or how did it influence your life up until then?
Oh, so yeah, the thing with the dad's a bit weird. So like, I very much got along with him. We had a lot of really good memories, but we also had just as many bad memories. You know, he was a ex-mercenary gun runner, so he's not just this normal person that has normal reactions to things and normal, you know. And so when I met him as a 13-year-old when I got thrown out of New Zealand. It was pretty, to start with, it was pretty cool because we got to know each other in regular ways. He knew that I did certain things and we sort of just hung out. But he's the one that made me like a bit fucking nuts. Like you can just do anything no matter what. Like you can take on anyone, you can do this, you can do that. There's nothing that can stop you. Pain means nothing. That sort of shit. So I can sort of half blame him for a lot of the fucking ridiculous decisions I've made with injuries and everything. It's a pretty complicated question because of the criminality of the background and the where we lived. You know, we lived in West Melbourne. We were often at war with other, bogan fucking housing commission families. It was a pretty weird upbringing, and I took off when I was about 16. So I actually lived with them for a couple of years before I went and done my own thing. And it wasn't until I was a proper adult where we got along normally. But having said that, it was pretty difficult to deal with most of the time, as you can imagine.
Yeah, definitely, I can imagine. Well, actually, I couldn't. It's totally far removed from anything like my life in there. But in terms of how it shaped your story, and it does knowing you for a little while, from all the Fire and Shire stuff that we've done, with your team, and keeping that hectic schedule and fighting through injuries from there. It does explain a little bit about you.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And I definitely make the point that I don't expect my guys to be like that. There's different rules for me and them. As much as I like to lead from the front, if one of our young kids, Jake, he's really promising. He's a pro now in Queensland. He's fought Tyson Ball. He's got a really bad shoulder. He's been playing it for a while, so I've got no problem putting him out. You have 6 months off. You're doing the rehab. You're fixing your shoulder so you can actually have a career. So I mean, my guys, the way I treat my guys and myself is very much different. So I got enough of that crazy gene to put myself through bullshit, but not enough to make anyone else do
it. but yeah, I guess it's it drove you to this point though, and I guess it always as good as a lesson for just go, look, I did it this way, but you can probably do it a bit smarter and have a lengthier career as well for your younger guys.
It is, and I'm a lot of my really bad experiences in Muay Thai. When I say bad experiences, dumb weight cuts early on, or mistakes I've made in the fight, or things I've let get in my head, or injuries, and all the bad shit that I've been through in the last few years in Muay Thai. That's what makes me good at what I do now. All my guys. I really take a lot of pride in how we do things with our weight cut. I make all the rehydration, food rehydration, meal, fluids. We have a very specific way of doing everything. I want to make sure they're all relaxed and not worrying about nothing but the fight. Rehab and injuries, and I try to get sponsorships from the gym. I have got a sponsored gym that help them in other areas, like get them cheap, strength and conditioning, get them, and it's all those dumb things I did earlier that's made me like that, because I think I don't want anyone to tell the stories that I'm telling. If they're under me, I want them to tell good stories. We we had great experiences. We did this, and this. It was all good. Like, that's stories I want people to tell about being at my gym. Definitely not telling the stories that I'm fucking telling because they're ridiculous stories.
I mean, it comes to that situation, like, you don't want people to, you know, like, especially when you say, like, you wouldn't expect, especially going through that Jaden fight, something like that, you wouldn't expect someone to do the same thing. But it comes down to, as well, like, what you can kind of do from there is, like, you know, I don't expect you to do what I've done, but your situation is probably never that. You know, so it becomes that.
Sort of trying to teach themselves how to fight and just throw themselves in. Like, it's a weird. I'm only just realising now in the last 6 months, now that I'm actually meeting some people deep in the Muay Thai community and actually getting around like all these different shows, different places, and seeing how things have shaped out for other gyms over time. I'm only just now realising how fucking stupid it is to do what I did. You know, like, I'm just going to get a room and a bit of carpet and I'm going to fight fucking anyone. At the time, it was just like not an issue because that was, I guess, how I sort of come up. But yeah, it's not. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing or it's bad. It's ended up good, but geez, it could have ended up real bad too.
But I feel like that's where so much of your like energy as a trainer comes from. Is this is like, you know, your guy, like, you know what you could have done with having when you were coming up. Like, so yeah. I think like there's just like that really productive idea of like, I'll give all these young guys that want to get their start the foundation that I didn't have. Like, I think that's always a really cool, like, that's where it really comes from the heart. It comes from like, I'm going to build this from the very ground up and then make sure there's something there for the next sort of guys to.
Oh, fuck yeah. And like, I really care about how people will remember me. You know, like, I don't want to be talked about like, oh, that place where they're unfit, they get their head smashed in, or that place where they're just assholes, or, you know, like, I want people to speak well about our gym and have good experiences. And, you know, when I take all my bad things and couple it with that sort of attitude, like, it's made a difference because we're doing okay now, considering we're just, you know, Rocky barrels. They're trying a little alleyway in the middle of Rocky.
It's all right. To be a fighter, you got to have that feral or that mongrel in you.
Yeah, and feral from Rocky's a different thing too. Like, it was everyone's only got a proper haircut in the last few weeks. Like, towards the end of last year, it was just a gym full of fucking bogan mullets, and it was a pretty entertaining times, having massive parties underneath the gym in the pub, and it got pretty sketchy for a while there. Maybe this COVID thing fucking pulled us up and put us back in a good spot.
It's like a hard reset. Like, yeah, all right, we need to reset on this one.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so it's coming about an hour here, which is just the length of the podcast from there. Torin, thank you very much for being on here. And like, yeah, that's probably like the wildest fucking story that has ever been on this podcast, and probably ever will be. And I think you're like you're the first Queenslander on this podcast as well, maybe also. So hey,
oh really?
Props.
Oh cool, man. We've got a fun Muay Thai day now. Like, Tyson Harrison's about to come over, and now that we're actually allowed to visit each other, and you know, it's gonna be a fun weekend, log weekend, and Muay Thai and beers.
Oh, nice, good. All right, so Torin, do you want to let the listeners know where they can find you or your gym on Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah, so Instagram and Facebook's the same thing. SPG, Snake Pit Gym. That's it, pretty much. You can message me or us there or have a look. We've got some really cool things planned for next year. Like, our fighters and our crew, I just love them so much. They're like family, you know, like our main fighters and the ones that are coming up. I've just been so lucky for them to be who they are. And I'm going to put so much work and effort into them in this next, you know, when things kick off again. I can't wait to just be out there ready to go, take a late notice fights, travel the country. I can't fucking wait.
Awesome, good. All right, so for us too, so remember we're on YouTube, so you can find this video on YouTube at Enter the Double Dragon Podcast. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook at Enter the Double Dragon. And if you don't like looking at our faces, as always, you can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, pretty much all podcast platforms. Look, thanks for listening to us again, guys. Stay safe, and we'll catch you later.
See ya.
Thanks, Torin, mate. Cool.